Yeah. Stay in your hut, bitch, we running the town. Shots to your gut if we see you around. You a little puppy, you don't belong in the pound. Chopper with the clip, leave you sleeping sweet and sound.
And let's get into the first topic. Last Kingdom Season 4. Season 4 of The Last Kingdom. And this is a action, adventure, historical drama. It's at 4 seasons. The first 2 seasons premiered on BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, not the other BBC. And season 3 and 4 are released on Netflix because Netflix scooped it up an old season and released it. And it's historical, so what history does it cover, you're asking? Follows the Anglo-Saxon journeys of Uhtred of Bebbanburg, born an Anglo-Saxon English warrior of Bebbanburg and thrown out by his uncle and forced to live with Danish Vikings and traded for the survival of Bebbanburg by Vikings, and he goes through a journey of helping and leaving the Vikings to help the ones that he loves and who he cherishes that happen to be a part of the Wessex kingdom led by Alfred the Great. And he becomes a mentor to Alfred the Great and helps out Alfred with his journeys against the Danes, or more commonly known as the Vikings. And season 3 was very climactic. I really messed with it, and the battles in this are just absolutely insanely well directed and choreographed. And the battles only last in each season. It probably has about like 5 battles, but yeah, if you like Game of Thrones or like, you know, any something series like that, you'll like this a lot. And it's easy to get into. Every episode you want to go to the next one because there's just so well directed episodes. And but put on subtitles. Very British show. And yeah, each character is memorable. I love the previous seasons. And very violent, very fun, very interesting to see the formation of England, because it's all about the Last Kingdom that is not being invaded by Vikings. Wessex, that's why it's called the Last Kingdom. And Wessex ends up forming England and ends up creating England. And the idea of England was created by Alfred the Great and the unification of all Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. So with the Last Kingdom, we get to see the formation of England and the sense of unity between kingdoms, and it's done through the fighting of the Danes and getting them out, and also the unification of many other kingdoms in this area, and interesting politics of the kingdom areas and how they dislike people that aren't Christian and they call them pagans and kind of cast them out. Really shows the really religious reality of the area, and it was such an interesting character dynamics that happened. And Uhtred is just this leader guy, and he's got his own crew, he's got his own boy band of awesome warriors that he has been through some shit with, and truly just a good show. Now let's get into season 4. That's what we're here to talk about. And for those of you saying now that you haven't heard of this, the show is not underrated. It's more underwatched. And it's people that call it underrated, I disagree. It's just underwatched. It's not underrated. It's been critically acclaimed. I love it. So this season 4 is exciting because it doesn't play out the way you think. It will set up great things that happen in the beginning, go completely different direction in a meaningful way. Because it shows characters aren't ready for certain things that they want to conquer, certain places they want to conquer, certain places they want to get to. And, you know, with this, you really miss Alfred. He's not in this because of what happened in the last season. And the presence of his wife, the Queen of Wessex, is interesting because she warms up to Uhtred after not liking her. the crew is really what is great. The sense of unity between Uhtred and his crew, who save the ones they love, and those people happen to be kings and queens of British kingdoms who fight against the Danes, and more commonly known as the Vikings. Again, this is really just an English versus Viking series, but it has a lot of great, interesting character dynamics, and it's not just one-dimensional fight bad people. Each side is gone into, and you get to learn who each side is coming from, and Uhtred is friends with people on both sides, and he knows a lot of people from both sides because he's more educated in the Viking ways. He's really just kind of a Viking guy trying to help English people out. And, you know, there's a bad dame called Canute, and when a character realizes the bad things he has done, it's really justified with the character Canute. That was a close one. Almost said, turn the N and the U around. Ha ha. Canute. Okay. Emily Cox was great as Brito. I've been following her since day one of the series, and yeah, I liked her character a lot. You know, this is just something I'm glad to talk about on the HASSCAST. It's just something I'm glad that this came out. I didn't know when the next season was going to come out. Such an interesting show. And it makes you look up those Wikipedia articles on the history. And I need to rewatch the other seasons. And also with Uhtred having to train the son at the end of the season of the king. And yeah, it was good. The battle in the 4th season was like so good. It was like 10 minutes long of complete awesomeness and sword and crazy shit. And good product. I overall just have great things to say. The only bad things I can say is that it's not as good as season 2, or I'd say season 3. Nah, season 1 was the best season. I fuck with season 1 the most. Maybe season 2. Season 2 is really good. Yeah, I'd say season 2 is the best one. You're probably like, wow, you're all over the place, Mike. But, yeah. Solid ass show. And, yeah, so, Mark Rowley is in it as Finnan, and he was in Guns Akimbo. And now with Guns Akimbo, expect a podcast discussion on that with my friend Traven of the channel Forced Nostalgia. We'll be discussing that interesting movie. It was so conceptually wow. The frick. So cool. And I hope you enjoyed the section of the podcast discussing The Last Kingdom, and subscribe to the channel, and go on Podcaster, Spotify, or Podbean, or SoundCloud, or my podcast website to listen to this if you were watching on YouTube.
Got a tissue for your tears, count your years, you got way more than you think. No one's better than our clique, same brainwave, yeah we all in sync. Don't know what to think when they push you to the brink. When you hear that click clack, can't see the kickback. Sense of living when the millions